That'll do. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I need to turn that down a bit. It's a bit loud. Welcome to Late Tonight. My name's Pete Sheriff. I got a whole, you know what? Each time we do this show, something goes wrong. So it's tonight has been one of those where you get an idea, and you think this will be it. This is the one. No, nothing. Didn't work. I have to say though, my guests for tonight's show have been very patient, and they've been there waiting in the green room, chatting amongst themselves, texting each other on their phones, and generally being good guests, because some guests that you leave hanging in the green room just get drunk and fall over. These two, not a bar of it. So good evening to Pat Mulligan and Elaine, they'll be on as well. And good evening if you're watching. I need to move that so I can see. Hello, there we are. Oh, I'm a little wobbly now on that camera. There we are. So I've got two guests. They do a podcast called my notes have gone because I rebooted the computer. It's called the Post Pavilion Podcast, right? And I will get them on and we'll talk about all the different things that these guys have been up to. And trust me, I saw a comment today. I was doing a bit of research, and somebody on YouTube quoted them as the new Ant and Dec which was hilarious. So the two of them, one of them's now got their hand over their face because I think they know what's coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show.
I think we're ready. Welcome to the Late Tonight Show, starring Pete Sheriff, with our very special guest, Chris and Paul, from the Post Pavilion podcast. And we talk SpaceX and Amazon. And now, live from Solihull, just outside Birmingham, just off the A45, here's your host, Pete Sheriff.
Yes. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good evening. Now, because I don't know why that is happening. I don't know.
Hello, good afternoon.
Oh, hang on, we're a bit early for that. A bit early for that, giving that away. I don't know why you can't see that now. Let's have a look. You should be able to see Zoom guests. Let's go up there. There we are. Nope. No Zoom guests. You've disappeared, boys. You've disappeared from my thing. So I think I'm going to have to stop sharing that screen in order to unmute. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I muted you there for a second. Unmute your microphones, chaps, and we should be able to hear you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Are you there? Are you there?
I'm here.
Now, for the viewers at home, they now can't see anything, as you can probably see on your shared screen.
Yeah. Can I just say, this has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know what's really good? It's really good to be on the other side of it.
It's
like, instead of me and Chris trying to do a podcast and we're trying to work everything out, it's nice to see somebody else do it for a change.
Yeah, we feel your pain. We really do.
Oh, I tell you.
You're doing a great job, mate. You really are.
You know, listen, I got Pete on the other end who, you saw him earlier. He's got less hair than I've got. And that is my fault. That's down to me, that. Because I just, the stress I give that lad.
We did briefly meet him earlier.
Yeah.
And he said you were a great guy, so organised. Knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, we're really surprised.
He was full of comments. He was full of compliments for you.
Comments, yeah. Compliments, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't think we can repeat what he actually said, but you know.
Oh man, right, hang on. We've got some backing music here. It's got to go on as well, so we don't. We keep all the channels open. Can you hear that, chaps?
Yeah, we can hear that loud and clear.
Thank the Lord. That's one thing that's working now. So we need to give people a picture because there's a lot of viewers and they can't see us. So I don't understand what's going on here. I really don't.
I think you've got to switch it on, switch it off, Pete. That usually works.
Again?
Yeah.
I've been sat here since 3 o'clock this afternoon.
So that's the Zoom guests, right? So if I turn that off, then there should be at least one camera there.
Yeah.
But,
which is really good because we can see everything that you're doing and you're absolutely blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
Watch and learn, boys. Watch and learn.
Watch and learn?
I don't know if we're going to learn much, but we can certainly watch it.
Oh man, I don't know. I don't understand. This is just nonsense. Anyway, right, I tell you what, let's talk for a little bit and then while we're talking, I'll work out what the hell's happened.
That's a good yeah, why not?
Okay, so you two, it's the Post Pavilion podcast. What day do you deliver this to your what episode? You're on episode 4 coming now, is it?
So basically, we are due to record episode 4 this week, and
Just
then it
have
gets
this.
put out. It gets put out on a Friday, so a fortnight every Friday.
Oh, every 2 weeks, right? Okay.
So yeah, so we're into going into episode 4. So we do you know what? The reason we started it was just because we were pretty bored actually during this really, really long lockdown.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it for months and months and months. Going, we need to do a podcast. We need to do a podcast. Paul,
Yeah.
do you know anything about podcasts? You're like, no, not.
I didn't have a clue. I just I'm not technical in any way, shape or form. I can barely put my socks on correctly. But yeah, so when I said to Chris, if I just turn up and sit on the other end of the computer and then you do all the technical bits and then we'll just talk. So that was kind of how it came about.
So for the past 3 months, I've been sat watching YouTubes of how to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I knew how to do the audio. I could do the talking bit. It's all the editing and all the putting it all together, which I found tricky.
Yeah.
And then we decided to go ahead and get it launched in January. And like I say, we're on to episode, coming up to episode 4, and we're only just finding our feet with it, and it's going. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually.
It's good. I listened to the I've listened to 2 episodes out of the 3, right? And I have to say that you two guys, okay, let's explain to the audience, right? I've known you two guys, what, 15 years or something?
It's got a bit,
About
there, 2008, I think it was, if I remember it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw my very first, in fact, my second experience. My first experience was with the old Ents manager of Skegness, watching him on stage trying to sing, which was interesting.
Right.
And then my second experience at Butlins was watching you two absolutely smash centre stage by singing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song.
Oh, so was that one of the live music weekends then, was it?
It was the very first live music weekend I went to.
Oh, wow.
And
that's mental.
I did like an hour downstairs in the Skyline when they had it got a stage set up by Rosso.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So my back would have been to the windows, and I'd have been looking into to Skyline. And
I used to love that spot.
I played an hour there. I didn't know where I was staying and ended up at the bar getting drunk. So, and you two were on, and that was my first experience. And I was like, you know what? I did this. I want to do that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I never thought we'd be an inspiration to you, Pete Sheriff.
listen. I'm all seeing me, and I watched you two, and there was a number of things out of your show that I went, yoink, I'm having that.
Yeah, but figures we probably stole it from somebody else, so don't worry about that.
that's how we came. That's what we did. We just nicked bits of other people and just put it into our own way of doing it. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was probably we was in our sort of first year of working together, I think, back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sort of that's how we both started out, wasn't it, Paul? We kind of got asked to be put together. I think
Right.
you asked if you could work with me. Is that right?
Well, yeah. Cut long story short, I was on my own. So I used to DJ on the Adult Breaks, live music weekends and the family breaks.
Yeah.
On my own, and then someone said to me that why don't we introduce somebody else into the mix? And then I think we spoke about it in episode 1, really. And then Chris Mann, happened to walk through the office at that time, and then I was like, well, he'll do.
He'll do.
And then. And then literally we moved in together. So they were like, right, you've got to live and breathe each other, live together. So we moved into an accommodation together. And then, and then we just kind of hit it off from the word go. And then it just kind of, in the Butlins world, and it kind of just blew up a little bit. And then we were just together 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
It was a good job that we liked each other, really, because it would have made it really hard, wouldn't it, living and working together. And I think that's why we worked so well, is that we got on really well with each other, and the fact that we lived with each other, it just made it so much easier when we're on stage. That sometimes there's only certain people you can work with. And I know I've worked with other people in the past, and you just don't quite get the same rapport when when I've got my mate with me. It's different.
Well,
Do you think that, Paul? Do you find that?
Yeah, totally. To be fair, we got thrown in, and we would start working with other people on the odd day off or whatever. But it was kind of just the two of us all the time, and then we had our rest days together. So we liked to be with each other 24/7, and just we had a proper lads pad as well in our accommodation. It was a proper lads accommodation.
It was.
I can imagine. I did. But did you? So in the old accom down there. The sheds, as they call them, right? I'm giving away trade secrets now. Look, those. Did you live in those like flat things that were sort of behind the spa?
Yeah, we lived in that luxury accommodation, Pete, and actually,
it was luxury.
Yeah, we had a bath.
Oh, we had a
cooker, and we had a bed. and a couple of sofas. Actually, no, we had a couple of recliners. Actually, we went up market.
We got rid of the 2-seater sofa, and then we wanted to be like, is it Joey and Chandler from Friends? So we like saved up like 6 weeks worth of our pay, and then we ended up buying a couple of recliners that we just literally sat in front of the telly.
And the thing is, I can see you two doing that as well. That's the thing, is that there's no better duo than to be sat in a pair of leather chairs in their pants than you two. So then I think I came across you. I didn't see you then, for I didn't really know the two of you. Did a few adult breaks and then disappeared for a little bit and then came back, and you two were presenting something. I'm trying to think what it was. But the two of you clearly work together very well, because you seem to know what each other's going to say, and a perfect duo. Do you know what I mean? I've always wanted somebody that I could work with like that, and that's why I'm always on my jack, because I'm like, well, nobody knows my jokes better than me, so I'm gonna. Yeah. But you two seem to be able to bounce off each other effortlessly, and I'm very envious of that, chaps.
Well, we kind of, I think the way our sort of, I suppose it was an act really. You'd always play the straight one, Paul, and I'd always be the silly character. But then I'd always, to be honest, Paul was the ideas man. He'd always come up with like what we're going to do tonight. Because that's the first thing I do when I started a shift. Like, what we're going to do tonight? We've got to do something entertaining. It's like, why don't we do this? And then we just kind of went with it. And I always knew what Paul was going to say. Right. I probably know what he's going to say right now, if I'm honest. So, but that's how we knew what each other was thinking.
Yeah.
And I think
that just reflects into the podcast as well. So we don't really have an idea. Like, when people always ask us what's the podcast about, and obviously there's millions of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And people say, "What's your podcast about?" And I can't tell them what's about, because we don't know what's about. It's just generally about like two mates that are not lucky enough nowadays to be working together on a stage platform, that we can just literally, for 2 hours every fortnight on a Saturday, we literally just get behind the iPad and get behind the computer and just have a good old chat thing.
Well, it did make me laugh. I was listening this afternoon to the one where because I didn't know you were such a tech head there, Paul. And poor old Chris is still with his iPhone. That was hilarious. You were talking about I think you were doing the Chris versus Paul thing, and it was Paul, you kept buying stuff and Chris was trying to catch up, and then when you did the Chris versus Paul, you were saying when did the last how many iPhones have been sold.
We were talking about Apple, weren't we?
Yeah.
So I was saying about the fact I brought a new phone, and then our Chris versus Paul, our kind of first question to each other was about the same brand, and we were like, oh, what was yours about that, and mine's about that? It'd been even better if we both come up with the same question, but it was phone related. That's what it's just about being about. It's just about being on the same wavelength.
Very much so. Yeah.
And then it goes even further when we were on stage together. Yeah. We would literally just say one or two words to each other, and then we knew where we were going to go next.
Yeah.
Or I would say something to Chris. Could be absolutely anything, and then Chris would automatically know straight away that he was going
to go with it,
move over to the next bit.
Yeah. So Paul, you'd be from going what Chris just said, you would be the straight one, and Paul would and Chris would be the funny one, so to speak, if you like. So can you explain this to me then? For those people who didn't quite get that, Paul was wearing a leotard.
To cut a long story short,
let's move on from this.
We've got a lot of explaining to do with that video.
Yeah, we have. My mum's really proud of that video. So we used to have the yearly Redcoat show that the team used to put on together, and part of one year, one of the shows was based around like the Brit Awards.
Yeah.
It was called the Billy Awards. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the show, the nomination for best video or whatever it was Beyonce Single Ladies or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the host of the show would come out with two girls and start the dance. And then halfway through it, he would go, actually, no, I'm not feeling this. And then he would whistle. And then me and Chris came out with the leotard and everything on. And then we would do the Single Ladies dance. And then obviously the show finished. So and then the following year, and it goes back to being the straight and the stupid one. We would always do kind of Chris versus Paul with the audience.
Yeah.
And we used to just make the forfeit be that whoever lost Chris versus Paul with audience participation would put on the single ladies outfit and do it. But we always used to twist it, the fact that I would always lose anyway, because, you know, Chris was always the funny one and everybody loved him and he'd do all the stupid faces. Yeah, they did, but they used to be, they were always drawn to you as the stupid one. So there was nothing better than the audience seeing someone that is a bit of a, you know, straight talking, you know, having a go at Chris all the time in a funny way. And then I would always lose. Then therefore I would go behind the curtain, put the outfit on. 9 times out of 10, I was already wearing it underneath my uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason behind that Chris would win, and therefore I would have to do the single ladies dance.
I got you.
And I'll be honest, we had to do that dance throughout. Well, we must have done 100 shows of that dance, and I can't dance, and that's one thing that I struggled with. But because you had to sort of be, I can't dance.
Okay.
And even doing like little party dances, I was always the one that would go, oh yeah, there he is, there's Chris, there's the rubbish one. So I struck. Paul wasn't a bad dancer. He could do some moves, but it used to take me ages to pick up dances. And doing Beyonce Single Ladies, when they showed that to me for the first time, I was like, now this could be. The thing is, I had to do it well, because otherwise it's going to look rubbish on stage. So yeah, and it was only 30 seconds, but you had to really put in the work to do that. And that was I just find dancing just really hard.
Yeah. Oh, you just surprised me there. I thought you'd be a slick mover.
No way.
I will say though, Paul, your legs look pretty good in a leotard, mate. I'll give you that.
Loads of people used to say that I've got cracking legs.
Even from the back of the room.
It's a bit weird when your mum tells you you've got cracking legs.
Okay,
that's when it goes really weird.
Let's move on to this then, Chris. Please explain to the people who are watching and myself what the hell is going on here.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Chris Morley Shopping Channel. Are you having a nice day? Are you sitting comfortably, more importantly, because I've got a bargain for you this afternoon. Let's have a look, shall we? Now, today we're selling the Disney Couture bracelet. Now, as you can see, can't see the bracelet because it comes in this nice, lovely packaging. Have a look at that. Very nice. Now, let's just open it up, shall we? And inside, here it is. The gold-plated Disney Couture bracelet. Very, very easy on the eye, you're most likely thinking to yourself, and very simple to use. All you do is just pinch the button and it opens up nicely like that. Now, lads, you're probably thinking, well, Valentine's Day is only, 2 weeks away? This present is ideal for the other half. Now, another thing you're probably wondering to yourself, how much is it going to cost me? It looks expensive. Oh, it does look expensive, but we're only selling these for $12.99 a piece today, and there's only 10 of these to sell, so you've got to be quick. So if you want one, lads, pick up the phone, dial the number across the front of the screen, and ring now. Now, unfortunately, there is no number on the front of this screen because this is my audition tape. But if this was the actual TV channel itself, there would be one printed along the front.
Where's this from?
Oh man, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Have you not seen that, Paul?
I've never seen that before. You need to tell me about this right now, because I think we've got at least 3 hours of a podcast just about that.
Well, surprisingly, I didn't get the job from that video. But basically, I'd left the holiday resorts, and I went and moved to Bournemouth, where I live now. And that was filmed in my mother-in-law's dining room. And QVC were looking for presenters. And I was like, well, do you know what? Got to give this a go. So I got a camera. I bought my wife, I think, that little bracelet.
Oh, I think we've lost his internet connection. Are you there, Chris? Paul, are you there? I think we might have lost everybody. Oh dear. Well, okay, we've lost everyone. It's just me here on my own, and I can't even. Can I turn it back to the monologue camera? I think I might be able to. I don't know where the boys have gone, but we're going to reboot Zoom and we're going to get them back. Close program. We're going to reboot Zoom. We're going to get the boys back on in just a second. Thank you for joining us, by the way. It's just a crazy show tonight. Absolutely crazy. Now each week we do this, something happens. Something goes not wrong, but just a bit skewy. Tonight, everything from screenshots to the video to the music to everything wrong, gone. So I don't know what to make of it. I'll tell you what we are going to do. We're going to take a break, and while we're taking a break, we'll get the boys back on. So don't go anywhere. Stay right there. This is the Late Tonight Show on Flashback Radio. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening on the air, or you're listening on YouTube, or you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, wherever you are, thank you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Right. Let's have everything on.
So you had me bite through the bullet. I won't play a second fiddle with you. You look away just when they pull it. You gotta step up, yeah, you miss your cue. Ooh, your time is up now. I'm no fool. I know what you are up to. Keep things cool, but it won't help you this time. This time, no, no. This time, yeah. This time, no, no. Back when they were on ya, wasn't easy, but I held your ground. Still I get nothing honest from ya. Excuse me, but I won't buy into your big lie. No need to bother me tonight. They shoot you down this time and I won't fight. I got my head held high. This time, no, no. This time, yeah. This time, no, no. Oh, you think your plan worked out, but I know what's coming your way. So you think you're better than everyone else, but I know what's yet to come. 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 This time.
And we're back. Oh, man. Oh, you just wouldn't believe it, would you? It's just crazy. Hey, thank you for sticking with us, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you're listening on Flashback Radio, then good evening. If you're listening or watching us on Facebook, then apologies for the lack of beautiful Chris Morley and Gilbert faces. You've just had floating stars, but they are here. They are here. You're still with me, Chris?
Yeah, I'm still with you, mate. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
We're gonna try and get your faces on with the Zoom call now, but it doesn't want to do that for some reason. So let's try that. Ah, there you are. Look.
Hey. There's my partner in crime. Is Ian yet?
He's not here yet. Oh yeah, there he is. Admit, he's coming. He's on his way. He's on his way. We're getting somewhere.
Yay! There we go.
Hello, mate.
I'm back. I'm here.
You are. You are. We're actually on. We're on the air.
I'm alive. I'm on Facebook.
So I suppose I better continue with what was chatting about.
Let's talk about what happened.
So, so, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us after a little interlude, then we showed a brief video. Now I'm not going to show it again because
just in case it goes wrong,
something might go wrong. But Chris was doing what looked like a audition tape for QVC. Continue, sir.
Yeah, so QV. So this was after when I moved down to Bournemouth, and I didn't know what to do with myself, if I'm honest. So I was like, well, QVC had a job advertised looking for some presenters, and at the time I think you had to move to Birmingham. I think that's where they're based, QVC. And I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll go and do it. So they said, right, you got to do an audition tape, and I've never done. This was probably the first ever audition, bar becoming a Butler's Redcoat, but I hadn't done an audition for 7-8 years. So I thought, well, do you know what? Let's go for it. And he had to make a 3-minute video. He had to sell something. And on this particular occasion, I ended up selling a little bracelet that I bought my wife. And I was filmed it in my mother-in-law's dining room. And he had to upload it to YouTube. Now, I didn't realise that it's still on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
Basically, what Pete's been doing is going through YouTube trying to find embarrassing clips, and he's seen a clip that I've never even seen before.
You've never seen it.
You need to have a word with yourself. You really do.
Hey, but I look like I'm dressed for school. I think I was like, well, I'm dressed for a funeral. I had a black tie and a white shirt. I think that was the only smart thing I had because I literally had a suitcase of clothes, and that's all I brought with me. Was
Did
just
you get the job?
Sorry.
Did you get the job?
No, I didn't. No, not even a reply. I think they basically said I was unsuccessful, surprisingly. Yeah, unfortunately, QVC didn't want me that time. So if you're watching QVC,
there, let's hope not. Oh, hello, there's bleeping going on all sorts. Wow, so, yeah. Listen, I love the podcast, and you got to do more because the thing is, the as I said earlier, the camaraderie between you two is always been admirable, and I love the way that you come across with each other because there's no certain duos, double acts, whatever, always kind of there's up and a down, but with you two guys, I always find you on the same level, and it's nice to see and it's nice to hear. So when they told me you'd come on, I was like, yes, yep. Sold.
And I think we don't really take it too seriously either. We just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't, like Paul mentioned earlier, we haven't performed with each other for a couple of years. I think it was a New Year's Eve was the last time that we went out on stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was two years ago because I'd never had New Year's Eve off, and then with my new position now, I get the basically say that if I want it off or not. So I took the decision to have the. Not obviously this New Year's Eve just gone because everybody had it off, but the year before I decided to take it, decided to have it off. So I let Chris ride solo for one night.
And do you know what? It is really weird because I don't mind going solo, and I'm quite happy to do that. But I do miss it because I'm like, because when you got your mate next to you, like, oh, what should we do next, or what song should I put?
Is that because you had to think for yourself?
Well, that's probably that's probably right. But yeah, I do miss it. I do miss it a lot, and I hope that once everything goes back to normal, we can at least get out on stage again soon.
It'd be good to see. It'd be definitely good to see. I tell you, right? I have a question for each of you.
Go on.
Ooh.
Obviously, you met at Butlins, right? Am I right? I'm right in thinking that, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'll go to you first, Paul. How did you get there? How did you get to Butlins? What was your path? Did you just go to an audition? Was you walking past and they dragged you in?
No, so I
You took the car, didn't you, Paul?
Yeah, I did drive then. I was in Australia, so I went to Australia. I think it was 2004. I went to Australia with my best friend, whose dad lives out there. So I went up to Australia, and somebody out in Australia went, "Oh, have you ever been to Butlins? You'd make a good redcoat," just through conversation or whatever. So I auditioned, and in all seriousness, I auditioned in Bristol, and I didn't get it.
No way.
I never got it. And I remember walking into the room, and we did an audition piece, something like that. And then they just said I wasn't successful, wasn't what they were looking for.
Wow.
And then I left. My mum and my granddad came with me, you know, them proud, let's come with you, like X Factor-esque moment. And I didn't even make it past the first round. And then I got a call following day later saying you were really unsuccessful, the words they used.
Wow.
Were really unsuccessful.
Rubbish.
Yeah, basically. And then... but we still want to offer you a role within the entertainment team at Butlins, so we're going to give you a job. We'd like to give you a job as a puppeteer. So basically, I didn't fit the bill, so they wanted to put me behind the scenes doing string puppet shows.
Wow. That's something I never knew about you.
Did you not?
No.
Have we never had that conversation before?
No, never.
No, so I literally became a puppeteer with a great guy called Steve, who took me under my wing, first time away from home, and then... I did that for about a year, but halfway through the year, they were like, "Oh, we could do some more. Do you want to do a redcoat duty, a redcoat shift?" And McFly were doing an arena concert, so they were like, "Oh, you like McFly? Go and get a uniform on, and then you've got just be a redcoat for the night." So I did that, and then following day they came back and said, "Oh, we'll do roll you. We'll try you out as a redcoat."
Wow.
And at the end of that year, they went, "Well, you're not being a puppeteer anymore. You're actually all right to be a redcoat," and then that was it. And then it kind of just went away. That was it. But can you believe they used the words, "You're really unsuccessful"?
You're not just unsuccessful.
That's what I was really unsuccessful.
You're
that was how I got to Butlins. So
that's crazy. I never knew that story. To you, Mr. Morley, tell me the story.
Well, I remember it very well. They said I was very, very successful. And
of course they did.
You've got the face. We want you to be the brand. No,
but that's because you look like you were in S Club Juniors. If anybody remembers S Club Juniors.
Well, no, that basically with that was an ongoing joke to say that I used to tell the guests that I was in S Club Juniors, and I knew Frankie from the Saturdays. It was a complete lie, but people generally thought I was in S Club Juniors, and that went on for about 3 years.
Wow.
Until Paul kept bringing it up. But going back to your question, how did I audition? So I went to Cardiff. They did they had loads of auditions around the country. It is a bit like X Factor. You get put into a room, and we got put into different groups, and just seeing how you bond with a team of people, I guess.
Yeah.
First audition, never done anything like this before. I actually applied for Haven, weirdly, and it was until Butlins phone when we got some auditions. So I did a whole day of auditioning. I took my then girlfriend at the time down to Cardiff. We had a lovely evening out, and then did the audition the next day. I did take her out to McDonald's that night, actually, and I kind of regretted that because, we weren't together after that. So one life's lesson: don't take a partner to McDonald's. It doesn't work. So we went. So I did the whole audition. Didn't think anything of it. Really enjoyed the day. And then I got a phone call sort of a couple of days later and said, "Congratulations, well done. You're coming to Minehead. You start in February half term." And I was delighted. I thought, it was great. So and then that's when I first met Paul at the front gate. He was my buddy, and his words were, "Well, if you need anything, I'll just live upstairs. Anyway, have a good time." And that was it. Was
I the first person you met?
Yeah, you were the first person that greeted me at the gate, and you took me and my family to the accommodation, and you went, "Hi, I'm Paul. I'm your buddy," because I think that for anyone that was new, you used to get buddied up with people.
Yeah.
So if you had any problems or anything like that, you could rely on Paul. But I never saw him, so I after that first meeting, I thought, I don't like this guy. I don't know. I didn't when I first met you. It was weird because I thought, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know about him. You know what I mean?
There you go. I don't even remember meeting you.
No.
I remember it. I remember it clear as anything. But yeah, you lived exactly up. I lived on the ground floor. You lived on the first floor at the time.
Wow.
You just,
Okay.
if you need anything, just give me a shout. And well, I didn't actually. So
Good.
We are learning things about everybody here, boys.
I remember the first time I met you, Pete.
Where go on.
We were obviously in Minehead.
Yes.
And then you were part of one of our visiting acts. And I remember I think it was your first adult break, first live music weekend you did.
Right.
And I'd moved on to different positions within the department, and then this name on my spread, DJ Pete Sheriff. And I was like, right, okay, better go and meet this DJ then. Have a chat with him. And then I walked into centre stage, and that was it. And you know what? We had a better beginning, me and you did, than me and Chris did.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we had a few drinks that night as well.
what was this? Was this during my it's 5 to 8 stage?
Yeah, that stage, yeah.
It's 5 to 8, and he's still not here. 8 o'clock.
Yeah, but that's still not changed, though, has it?
No.
For anybody that knows you, even when doors open at 7, you still rock up at 7:20.
I'm never late. I'm always there. I just go for a poo before. That's what it's what it is.
Nervous poo.
Yeah, put a track on, toilet, sorted.
Well, we've all done that, haven't we, Chris?
oh yeah, many times.
So, what does the future hold then, gentlemen? The podcast is great. It's you're 3 episodes in and a trailer, nice. And you're when are you recording the next one? Are you recording it this weekend?
Yeah, we're recording this weekend, and it'll go out next Friday. So, do you know what? When we first started it, we just thought, well, no one's really going to listen. It's just a little bit of fun, but actually, people have enjoyed it. And we'll just keep doing them when if people want to still listen, we'll keep doing them. It's nice to get a bit of a catch up with your best mate, and hopefully people can relate to it. And especially during these times, it's tough out there. So if they've got a regular voice they can listen to, and then why not? We'll keep doing it.
Yeah, good. Clearly, Paul, you're in some kind of prison there with that background going on.
No, this is what I've been doing in lockdown. I've started bricklaying,
Building a cell.
knocked it through. Yeah.
Well,
so
what does the future hold for Mr. Gilbert then?
well, like us all, really. I think in the current world pandemic that we're going through, I think we just everybody, you, me, I, and everybody else is just waiting to get back to kind of some form of the new norm type thing. So I think the future really is just to kind of just get back to doing what you want to do every weekend, and Chris get back to touring the country, putting on all these performances and that.
Do you know what? I don't know about you, Pete, and Paul actually, is that when something's taken away from you like this, it makes you realise, I really miss this. Yeah. I miss the feel of a live audience. I miss entertaining not like one person, but 10, 20, 100, wherever many people. You just miss that rush, and you don't get that from sitting in your back bedroom doing a live DJ set. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think anybody that is not meant to do this job has bailed over this lockdown. They've gone. That's it. Sold the amount of I've got one of these Facebook groups that sells equipment between DJs. Within 3 months of lockdown, it was inundated with mixers and this and that, and seeing it. Loads of people going, I'm done. I don't want to go back to it. I'm not interested, because I think the novelty had worn off. However, there is a hardcore group of people that are just like this.
Just waiting.
Yeah, it's coming.
And you know what? When we are allowed to go out and party, it's gonna be brilliant.
It's gonna go off.
Everyone's just gonna have such a good time.
I said this on my show on Saturday, that it's gonna be the mentalist party ever.
It is. It is, and and there has been times where you go. I mean, I've had it. I've spoke to you, Paul, plenty of times of just going, I'm finding this really hard. When's this going to end? And can we go back? Can I go back to sort of DJ and performing? And you sort of question yourself. You think, what shall I do next? It's like, well, I know what I'm good at, but what? I don't know. And you're always like, well, just hang in there. This will end. It will end at some point.
Yeah, it's like a key. It's we all obviously talk to people within the industry on a daily basis, and you just got, there's nothing you or I is going to do to change the current situation. Nothing we're going to do about it. We just got to literally roll with the punches with it, but be excited about what's going to come the other end of it. We will be back on. You guys will be back on stage DJing. I'll go back to my role within with Butlins and coordinating and looking after the overall experiences, which is I want to see them curtains open again, and I want to see people dancing, singing, comedians. You know, I want to see people do what they love to do. But nothing you can do now is going to change where we are. You've just got to literally just be positive about it, and you will get there eventually. It's going to come. It's going to happen, and just hold on to that feeling of going, how amazing will it be that first live music weekend or that first show you're going to do when the tabs open or the doors open and there's a live audience in front of you.
Yeah.
But everybody's had to adapt to different ways. You've started doing this. Everybody's doing streaming and crooner sessions and all that, so everybody's doing their own different versions of it.
Yeah,
but it feels like it feels like you still get your hand in as well, you know. And that's why I quite like doing the podcast is the fact that, again, it's something new, it's something to get the brain ticking. So I found the last few months of just like, I need to do something that's going to get my brain going, because I feel like I'm just sort of sat here doing nothing and want to try and do something and make a difference and, you know, have some fun. And I think that's key, isn't it?
Sorry to interrupt, chaps, but we got a text message coming on the system here.
Have you ever had a text message on this show?
Is that good? Is it Pete?
Yeah, it is. No, this is Vanessa and Russell living in Burton-on-Trent.
Oh, I know Vanessa and Russell.
Pete, I was born in Solihull. I remember the Snooty Fox. Yes, I remember the Snooty Fox. We won't say too much about that venue. But yes, Vanessa and Russell was our Paul. So hello. And we got a message on Facebook from Craig Brown. That name ring a bell?
Craig.
Mr. Craig.
Yeah, I remember Craig Brown.
As we all DJ, what would be your favourite act to share the stage with?
Oh, Chris, you go first.
I mean, I love a good comedian. I think my favourite is definitely Keith Harris. Bless R.A.P. and all that. And he was one of my favourite comedians. And you'll know Pete Ample, that he used to be able to do a bit at the end of his show, and I just thought he was a true entertainer. He really, really grabbed the audience, didn't he? It was hilarious, and his act never aged. And I thought, actually, and what a nice bloke he was as well. And I think that was important, because you'd see a lot of acts, they were very different to what they are on stage. Some majority are really fine, but you always get one or two acts think, oh, it's not them, is it? Oh, they're really awkward. They're not, they don't really make much conversation. They're a bit awkward to deal with. But Keith Harris and Friends, one of my favourite acts.
What about you, Paul?
Mine's only, so we all get the opportunity to work with different acts, but there was one act in the past 2 years that really, I saw him live on one of our live music weekends, and it completely blew me away. Wouldn't stop talking about it, and the fact that we then brought him back for our team party. And I can't remember if you were there or not, but I'd love to just stand behind the decks and DJ for Fat Man Scoop.
Oh, I was there. Yeah, I was there.
How incredible was Fat Man Scoop? That I would, he had his DJ with him, but I'd like to be that DJ just stand behind him and just watch him get the reaction that he got. Because I'd love to, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to suck off his mate and stand behind him and mix for him, move over. But yeah, that's one act that is literally up there with me, how engaging he was with the audience.
He goes in the crowd and all that, doesn't he?
Oh, he's unreal. He's not taking his top off. It's like, all right, mate. Yeah. Imagine if he did that now. He'd never get away with it.
He was very good.
What's your act, Pete? We're interviewing you now. What's your act?
Oh, man. I like Kenny Thomas. Kenny Thomas is great. If you catch it, it depends what show he's doing. The Living in a Box show, I like. But Kenny Thomas's Kenny Thomas show, I really love. But my favourite act, that other than Complete Madness, because we all know I love those guys. But my favourite act is Doctor and the Medics.
Oh, really? Yeah,
they are incredible.
Absolutely love. They are just unbelievable.
And you know what they do as well, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is they are consistently good from when the curtains open to when the curtain closes. They're consistently good, and every element of their act and their show is mapped out to the actual second of who is going to do what. But from an outsider looking in, it's chaos.
Yeah.
But everybody knows what roles they got to play and what they got to do. Oh yeah, totally with you on that.
Yeah, they are fantastic. And I see so many. Jules Little and I had a moment. You know, you get, and I'm sure you have this when you have a moment, don't you? When you see an act and you go, yeah, man, they nailed it. And for me and Jules were stood in Skegness, I think, in Reds upstairs, and Bucks Fizz absolutely took the roof off. Like it was like watching Michael Jackson play. It was so bizarre because they got the sound right. They got they were just you know, like for people who are watching that don't realise that there's generally 2 rooms depending on what night of the week it is, but there'll be 2 rooms and they'll try and pitch the acts either, depending on what weekend it is, either against each other or opposite each other. So Bucks Fizz, they hadn't done one for a long time. They got a new sound engineer who clearly was crazy, because this guy had everything up, and I mean everything. The place shook. And when they did the Land of Make Believe, I stood next to Jules and we were like, oh, this is amazing. Bucks Fizz. But they were brilliant. They were brilliant.
So is that because I was going to say my act, but now you've said Bucks Fizz, I feel like I have got kind of the confidence to say the one act that I'm not going to say I got starstruck by, but the one act that like was Cleopatra.
Yeah.
So right, and I've told loads of people about this, and I've been given some right funny looks and been called a few names. But when I got the schedule through for a live music weekend, and it was like headlining on the Saturday night in Reds was Cleopatra, I lost my tiny mind. I lost my mind. And then when they were in the wings waiting to go on, and you go and introduce them. But then again, same thing with Bucks Fizz. They went out and they absolutely stormed it.
I sort of say Brotherhood of Man on a 70s weekend, they stormed that in an afternoon.
Wow.
Everybody on their feet.
Brotherhood of Man.
Brotherhood of Man, yeah. I never knew they were, actually. And that was one good thing about working a resort like that, is that, I mean, I didn't know any of the 70s acts. I mean, I wasn't around. So it isn't until over the years of just, you know, doing all these weekends, you suddenly go, oh yeah, these were big in the day. Like I say to my mum and dad about these acts, like, yeah, we were big fans of them. You know, Edwin Starr and Brotherhood of Man and all those.
It is crazy, isn't it? Where you kind of, I mean, I think the other one, and Paul, you'll remember this. I think you were still there, Chris, when this happened. The other act that I was astonished and was also hilarious at the same time was when Rick Astley played Skyline, and he ran off. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He was supposed to do a load of autographs and he just bolted straight past them back to the accommodation because he didn't want to sign any autograph. He wasn't being funny. He was just frightened to death. He was like, I'm going. That was an awesome gig. That was an awesome gig.
And I think it's just when you get acts that are so polished, and do you know what? They're doing it because they love to do it.
Yes.
As opposed to people that are doing it for the sake of doing it because they can.
Yeah.
But when you get acts that love to do it, and that's why you know, somebody like yourself, Pete, you come and every gig you do, regardless of whether it's with Butlins or whoever, you love to do it, and that's what comes across on stage. And that's what me going over to the other side of not being an on-stage performer anymore, but to see people that have that passion and love to do it, it raises the bar of the performance up even more. And it makes it more, you know, it makes it more valued, and you'll remember that gig. You didn't remember Bucks Fizz for Bucks Fizz. You remembered Bucks Fizz for that one moment where new sound guy, Land of Make Believe came on, the crowd went absolutely nuts, and they obviously wanted to be there and they loved to be there and they give a better performance.
I think one of the things I'm looking forward to is that anticipation, because you know when you get a new act and you don't quite know and like you'll hear a sound check and you know, Chris, we're all three of us are lucky that we get that sneak peek first, so we kind of know what's coming. But nothing. It doesn't matter who it is. I remember Carol Decker doing centre stage once, and I heard a warm up kind of sound check set, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, no worries." And then she came on, and everyone was like that. Because she just blew them away. So it's that anticipation of what they're going to be like as well. It's the whole thing is a journey, isn't it?
I've had acts we think, these are going to be good. They're going to nail tonight. This is the big one, eh? I'm just going to sit back and I just let the room do its work because I know this act is going to storm it. There's excitement. It's big build up. Usually it's the last act of the night, and then they go on, and then you go, right, I'll just go and hang out the back for 30 minutes. You go back out on stage to bring them off, and the room's empty.
There's no one. Now you see.
Let's not name any of them acts.
No, well, you know what? I was going to say, let's not name names. Yeah. But what I was going to say was, which was the most bizarre for you? So I think we won't upset anybody by going down this line of questioning.
Bizarre.
But what I was going to say was, I did this with, and I know Kenny very well, so he won't mind me telling this story. But my one was, I built up Kenny Thomas for 2 nights on the bounce, ready for the Sunday night. Mm-hmm. I smashed it. Just every 10 seconds, Kenny Thomas.
Yeah.
Introduced him on stage with what I thought, because I didn't know what he was going to do. So I thought, I'm sure you must remember this, Paul. I ran up and down the stage, did my usual bit. I think I was playing Double Trouble in the Rebel MC into Kenny Thomas. It's kind of all right. Keep it up there. Introduced him on the curtains open, and it was a lounge set.
Yeah, I remember it.
Oh my God. I've never been so embarrassed. And Kenny was just like, it was the night, that was the night somebody took a picture of him singing while texting on his phone because he was that bored.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
So bizarre acts, go.
Bizarre acts.
One of my bizarrest acts, we had Circus of Horrors.
Right.
So essentially it's a circus show, but it's horror.
Yeah.
So it includes flamethrowers and contortionists and, illusions with a bit of a horror twist to it.
Yeah.
And I remember, it is an incredible experience for 90 minutes, and it's just brilliant. But first time I watched it, you have that moment where you sit there and at the end of the 90 minutes, you go, what have I just watched? And you go, and then you walk away from it going, I remember this bit, I remember that. And it was amazing. But at the end of that moment, I was going, that was literally the most bizarrest thing I've ever seen, but for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
I was like, it was something unique to the break that we were obviously delivering. But yeah, Circus of Horrors to me was like, God, this is bizarre, but absolutely brilliant in the right way. That's not something. The content of the show wasn't what I expected from Circus of Horrors. I just expect to be a circus show with a clown dressed as a bit of a zombie and then a few horror stuff along the way. But the illusions and the tricks they were doing and the contortionist getting into a box like, 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, you're like, it's not even possible. What again, how would you even find out you can actually do that? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so that for me, Circus of Horrors was probably the most bizarrest act I've ever seen. But on the flip reverse, it was amazing. I'll remember it for that reason, for being bizarre.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I got one, was probably watching E17 with Brian Harvey in.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I don't, let's just put it this way. I don't think he kind of knew what he was doing. He was rambling a little bit. I think he'd had a few tipples. And let's just put it this way. I think the audience, they didn't quite like him either. So they did turn on him and told him to get off. So it was a bit like, again, it was that whole, bigging out for the whole weekend. And then it was just like, a real bit, that was really bizarre.
Yeah.
It was, because you think that they've gone and nailed it, and I don't think they'd ever returned again. So
you don't fancy going out as an E17 tribute then?
No, I don't think so.
Oh man, listen, boys, I we could talk all night, couldn't we, about this stuff?
We could.
And listen, I really appreciate you coming on. The podcast is the Post Pavilion podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Comes out every 2 weeks. And the next one is at next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday. And I'm sure we'll get some Valentine's stuff in there as well. What's oh, hang on a minute. Dom Hall says staple in the forehead, such an insane show.
Staple in the forehead.
Yeah.
Oh, that's from the Circus of Horrors.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. Ah, right, okay. I think I've seen that show. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, I think you would have. It was on one of the
Halloween break.
Halloween break, didn't we? Halloween party, and they were on the Sunday, so you would have seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Post Pavilion podcast. We have no idea what the next episode is going to be about because it's just literally me and Chris. We literally have a start, a middle, and an end, and we see what happens with it. But it comes out every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
download it through the normal streaming services.
We'll have to get you on, Pete.
Come on! It can't be any more unorganised than I was to start with. So
yeah, that'll be all down to Chris this time. Chris and
I'm tech man when it comes to stuff like that. So
thank you for having us on, Pete.
Hey, listen, you're very, very welcome. You're very welcome anytime, chaps, and please come back again. We've got Junior from Entrance next week, and then we've got Ridney and Dr. Feelgood in 2 weeks' time. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I love how you've gone from Sean Smith to two nobodies to two absolute legends. There we are.
Just something, elevate you up to that level.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Oh man, gents, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you soon. And to everybody watching, thank you so much for watching. This has been a rather bizarre late tonight show. We'll be back next week at 8 o'clock on the dot. Thanks to Pete in the studio. Thanks to everybody else. I'm going to roll the credits. We'll see you later.